Guys, welcome back to another review for One Piece chapter 1170. Now we do get an unofficial drop of the chapter for the end of the year, and what a way to end the year of 2025. It feels like a very deserved end of the year chapter because of what people get to theorize and what happened here. So let's jump into the chapter review, and well, hopefully you guys have been checking out some of my shorts. We managed to pull a great chase that my fiance has been searching for or wanting for a while, and it is the Mew Paldean chase in one of my latest shorts that we opened in the boxes, and it's perfect, man. I'm so glad we got it because that was the whole point of opening and getting those boxes for her. But yeah, anyways, please let me know if you check those out. Let's jump into the chapter review for 1170. And we have some stuff I wanted to talk about that I wrote down to theorize for the end of the chapter, what could be coming next. So, jumping into it, Loki is baffled with thinking somebody was inside that swung the hammer at him. He goes in to check while he doesn't know what's happening, that the hammer itself is creating the mayhem, that it's moving in sentience. So I assume that because of it moving, we assume a Zoan. So I don't know how it happened, right? Because it's so long ago that Vegapunk is the one that figured out how to put devil fruit items to eat devil fruits, but the hammer somehow has eaten a devil fruit, and we'll see in a sec what it is. But it's moving by itself. That Loki has never seen it before. Nobody's really seen it, I guess, at this moment yet, because Vegapunk hasn't found out about it yet, or hasn't done it yet. But it's moving and defending the door that Loki was in front of the door, and he breaks the floor underneath him, that he's falling down and he's being chased by the hammer while he's running away. So he finds out it's sentient, and Harold in the background is saying that nobody has ever wielded that hammer or gotten the fruit because Ragnar has not acknowledged anybody. Typical Thor mythos, right? Norse mythology mythos, and there's more Norse mythology that's gonna be theorized coming up. So we'll jump into that. So we get Harold, who is not Emu. So I thought Emu was going to control Harold, but he's not. We actually get explained what's happening to Harold in this case. He's not being controlled. He's actually being influenced to think how the God's Knights or Emu is thinking. He is influenced. He is himself. He doesn't know. He doesn't forget his goals, or like, his goals change to be more evil and to be more in aligned with Emu's goals. So he wants to get the fruit so he can be the strong soldier that Emu wants him to be. And we get a moment, so he's approaching Loki, and we need to be stopped by Gabon and Shanks. So, and I also want to I want to stress that Shanks is using his left arm. Every time he's holding, I think maybe most of the time he's holding the sword, he's holding it on his left hand. So I want to say that he's actually left-handed. But then Mihawk would have fought him, right? Because he's still. Anyway, whatever. There's so much slander on Mihawk. It's actually hilarious. But you do get a lot of strength swinging it with two hands instead of just one. But he does seem to be left-handed. And Gabon is stressing that you can incapacitate these types of people if you just do continuous damage to them, putting Conqueror's Haki on your weapon. But this is his first time fighting somebody else who has Conqueror's Haki as well. So there is a shield that they need to break through, just like with Zebek, that Roger and Garp had to break through it. But he's fought people like this before, meaning the Holy Knights don't seem to possess Conqueror's Haki because their sense of, I guess, the willpower would be skewed, right? Because it's not themselves truly wanting this, they're being influenced by it. But if they're being influenced by it, wouldn't that also give them Conqueror's Haki? I don't know. Let's Emu has Conqueror's Haki for sure, but not we would have to see if Shamrock or Garling have Conqueror's Haki to compete. If not, you can incapacitate them very easily, kind of how Zebek did with Garling. So maybe under his own volition, Garling or Shamrock want to be a God's Knight and get Emu to be king forever, and they get Conquerors. Kind of how Zoro wants to get Luffy to be Pirate King, and then that himself also gives him the Conqueror's Haki. And he also wants to be the best swordsman. So that's also a Conqueror's mindset as well. Anyway, uh, deep diving into what gives somebody Conqueror's Haki, because now Emu's influencing them, their own wills, or what they want themselves with this contracts. Anyway, Gabon is going to fight Harold. And of course, he's under the mind control. So Gabon's just telling him he can't leave him like this because you're gonna just wreck the world with the new fruit. So we can't let you have it. We all have to just depend on Loki on this case. And Gabon also stresses that some people came before looking for Shanks. So the Holy Knights and Mary Joie did know that the Roger Pirates had a baby Shanks. And they came looking for him, and then maybe they weren't stressed to be Holy Knights, but they also had regenerative ability, so they had to have been Holy Knights. So, but of course, the Holy Knights get folded. You know, they get folded like a lawn chair versus Roger, and even I guess Gabon in this case, and Rayleigh with their level of Conqueror's Haki and strength at that point in the story, and even now they're still very strong. But even then, that's like Roger's prime, or getting to more of Roger's prime. Again, Shanks with his holding the sword with his left hand, breaking it down, telling Shanks how to fight these people. And it is for a moment that Shanks saying, this could have been my world. I could have been a Holy Knight. I could have been under that contract. It's really chilling. And yeah, you have two brothers that were split at birth. And he could have been up there in the Holy Land being a God's Knight. So yeah, they're waiting for Loki. And he understands the hammer. He's blocking his way from getting the fruit. And he gets so mad because it's such a sense of emergency that he smashes the hammer with everything he has. And it goes flipping to the ground, rolling, and it rolls into what we see is a squirrel. So well, of course, we had a feeling that it was not going to be just magical hammer, right? It's a Zoan devil fruit that a hammer ate. A hammer ate this devil fruit, and it's a squirrel. And of course, immediately, Norse mythology, I'm thinking it's Ratatoskr. It's a mythical Zoan type Ratatoskr. Because if you notice, it's not using lightning-based abilities like Loki gets. So it's just a squirrel. It could just actually be a squirrel. It doesn't even have to be a mythological devil fruit. It's just just a regular plain squirrel devil fruit, you know, basically. Because there's no mythical Zoan level abilities it's emanating. But it's just a good play on the Ratatoskr theory, right? But also, before I lose it, this means it can be talked to. It was given a task and it understands that task and it's doing it. So can Chopper talk to the squirrel? Does the squirrel speak a different language? The squirrel is very, 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 very old. Can it talk to it? Does it have a sentience of what it's... Well, every animal is able to... Chopper's generally able to talk to every animal. I don't think he talked to Zunisha, or was able to talk to Zunisha. But in this case, maybe the squirrel can give some info. Like, maybe I don't know exactly a lot, but I know this is the person that told me to defend this. This is why I have to defend it. This is the person that wielded me before. More info like that. I was in Joy Boy's crew with the giant that held me before. Something like that. There's info that can be dropped by the squirrel. Very slight, but there can be info. I guess kind of how Zeus can also say, hey, I was on God's Valley. There is a guy named Zebek. There was he was on Zebek's crew. Anyway, doesn't matter. But maybe we do get a name drop of Zebek, and then Zeus is like, "Yeah, I was in there. I was there. I know a little about him, or something like that. Just bring it up." But unless somebody brings up Zebek's name, Zeus is never gonna chime in. Yeah, so the squirrel looks mad, and I guess we just have to move the story along, and we go to the next few panels, and the squirrel just kind of is there telling Loki, "Here's the fruit." So he kind of, with one hit, acknowledges Loki's strength and just gives him the fruit, and maybe has some semblance of the emergency that is going on and the urgency. What's it called? Wow, Jarul, okay, I forgot his name for a sec, is telling them you need to stop Harold before he reaches the fruit by all means necessary. And there he's stabbed, like he's got so many spears sticking out of him as he's approaching it, and Loki gets to eat the devil fruit. And we see the design, and it's so funny because I for a moment I forgot that the devil fruit is human sized. So it's literally a little dot in the palm of his hand, and we do see it a little bit, and it's some spiky little fruit. It's very spiky little fruit, and he starts transforming, and he transforms into something that is very large. And the squirrel is happy because I feel like the squirrel maybe has seen it only one time, because the fruit was secured by by somebody that the previous user told to secure, because the devil fruit is this devastating. Everybody is saying that this devil fruit is monstrous. It can end the world. What devil fruit can end the world? And we go back to Norse mythology. We don't see it, but actually, I don't know, because I was already throwing out that it's a Ratatoskar level fruit, so it's like another squirrel. But it could still be a mythological level squirrel devil fruit of model Ratatoskar. Maybe not, probably not, because I think it turns him into something giant. It's huge. It's as big. It gets to stomp on Harold, as we see in the next few panels. So it's, as I've seen other people say, it could be the Nidhogg fruit, because it destroys the realms, right? I forgot the homeland of the gods in that place, and it resets it. Kind of how Loki can destroy and reset Elbaf, because he wants to destroy Elbaf. So this is, I assume, the Nidhogg fruit, because of the lightning-based abilities as well. The lightning is not from the hammer itself. The lightning is from the Nidhogg, which is lightning-based abilities. And the squirrel sometimes bites the Nidhogg. The Ratatoskar bites the Nidhogg in the mythology. So that is a play on it. Could be. I'm just throwing it out there, theorizing, right? Because I gotta throw everything in the video while I can. And Harold sees that Loki eats the devil fruit, and he says, "Okay, show me what it can do then." The legendary power. Because he himself hasn't seen it, and he refuses to eat it. And we have a few clashes. The first time I read this, I thought he was just fighting some people on the ground. I didn't realize that this was Loki fighting him in these like 5 panels. You see him swipe at Harold, sending him flying. Awesome. He has the damage. You see the claw marks on him. You see the damage on Harold, the claw marks on him, that it broke through, and he's healing through it. We have him smacking him around. He looks like he stomps down on Harold, and I can't tell. It's all so like ambiguous shaped, right? It's all so ambiguous shaped, but Harold is wide-eyed. Harold is taking massive damage, and Harold is holding himself his own, like he's holding himself, like it's a lot of power. And Loki transforms back to human form. And Harold, man, Oda, you're killing me with these flashbacks. Harold gets a moment of clarity again after being smacked by Conqueror's Haki so much. For a moment, he gets his clarity back and he says, I knew it. It's within you, Loki. The blood of a conqueror flows. And Loki just says, oh, good, you're back. You're back to normal. We did it, right? This is like a sigh of relief. Like, yes, you're back to normal, right? And he just, and the hero says, don't be a fool. Just, it's only for a moment. Don't be deceived. All this that I've done is too extreme. We can't let it happen again. And Loki's just pleading. It was just a moment. You were being controlled. You're back to normal, right? You're back to normal. And he just says, it's only for a moment. That whatever happened, whatever that did to me, in this sense of clarity, he tells him whatever that did to me, it's influencing who I am, my feelings, my goals. It made me think I was a god. So it changes how you act, but not the person. As we see with Dami Reversi, Dorian Broggie, they are telling them, yeah, I remember Jarul, but he's ancient now. It's changing your sense of mind. And we see Shanks and Gabon on the ground, and I don't know if they were fighting as well, but they are basically tired. So I'm thinking this Shanks was supposed to fight. This Loki, this level of Loki is insane, because I want to talk scaling for a sec. Oh man, and I'm 16 minutes in, but this chapter is fire. Let's keep going. And he's telling Harold that you're asking your own son this. You're telling your own son to do this. That is awful. You're an awful parent asking your son to kill you. It's the worst. And Harold brings up one more thing. Thank you for what you did for Ida and burning down Brewer's village. I won't bring her back, but I appreciate your feelings, which he gives them that closure, and he knew what happened. He knew what happened and what Loki did for Ida after what they did to her. Breaks my heart, man. And I thought this page was the final panel, and he tells them, it's coming back. You have to kill me here. You have to end me. I have to die now, basically, like the previous chapter. And Loki tells him that I'm gonna hold a grudge against you. And I need to see how the official translation is gonna word this, because of how it's worded here. I'm gonna hold a grudge against you for making me do this. And Harold says, me too, but I love you. And that's how it ends, bro. Like, that's how the last things his father tells him. And we see a lightning bolt go off from, that's the lightning bolt that breaks the ceiling. And it comes down, and he gives it all he's got. And I thought that was the end of the chapter. I thought that was the last panel. But Oda went one step further, and he gave us the smash and the lightning going through Harold, looking like it breaks him down into tiny little pieces. So maybe the level of obliteration that the devil fruit causes here is what actually makes it so he doesn't regenerate anymore. A level that he can't regenerate from anymore. You're smashing him to smithereens. And with tears down his face, Loki smashes his own father, man. And he gets a flashback of his dad. It's just, what a chapter to end on for the year, man. That was an insane chapter. Now let's talk power scale. I mean, I wrote down some stuff because I feel like I'm gonna forget some of these important stuff that I want to talk about. So Shanks, 8 years from here, this point, like, I'm thinking Shanks needs to take care of Harold. This Harold who was basically going one-on-one against Zebek. He needs to defeat this level of Loki and chain him up. Because Loki is mad at what Shanks did to him, which was lock him up, basically. But right now, Shanks couldn't even, deal with Harold at all. Like he was getting folded, it seems. We're like barely holding on. He was just holding him back for as long as he could because he can't. They can't even him and Gabon can't do anything at this point. So and then I was going back and seeing that okay, so there's actually a span of years that Loki is on the seas and just causing havoc, and Shanks was the one that was supposed to bring him back, and that's what caused them to be a Yonko in the New World. So we're gonna have to get a breakdown on what happened there. So we're gonna get a fast forward into the future of what Loki and Shanks are gonna talk about right here, or Loki is gonna want to go immediately to Mary Joa and try and take it down, and somehow he doesn't make it in 8 years, so he has to get pulled back by Shanks and tell him not yet. Something like I don't know. I really want to know why or what happened here in this case, or they had to play it off that Loki was going to get brought back by Shanks. It's just that there's so many questions in between what now and when Loki gets brought in back by Shanks. Anyway, Loki scaling, Herald scaling. First of all, right now, well, with immortality, and he does get a buff to his strength, so he's basically on Zebek's level. Well, no, actually, Dami Reversi Zebek was stronger also. So it puts him on the same level as Zebek on God Valley, probably. And that was a Pirate King level threat, I think, right? That's Pirate King level threat with Gabon and with Garp and Roger. So does that I don't know. I mean, let's be fair. For a moment, Loki, not Loki. Harold held himself back, held himself there, and said, "Just hit me with all you have, so you can kill me here." So at maybe holding himself back gives him that opening to be able to be obliterated here in this attack. But if he was fully under the influence and control, maybe it would have still made. Maybe he would have been able to use armament hockey to hold back and not get hit by the full brunt force of it. Maybe I think so, but where would that put Loki? It doesn't put him at it. It puts him at a nearly Yonko level. I want to say he's basically with the Devil Fruit. He's basically near Yonko level, if anything. Can he take down what's it called, Kaido? Probably not. So he's there. He can contest, but he can't like defeat a Yonko. Let's say that. Loki joining the crew. Now I was thinking Loki's Devil Fruit is gonna let him resize, and it looks like he turned huge with the abilities, but maybe since it's a mythical zone and it's Norse mythology, they're able to shapeshift in size. Still a potential possibility that he's able to resize to be smaller Loki. Maybe. And the hammer just sits on top of the helm in the middle of the ship. If it's a Ratatoskr fruit or mythical fruit, he can also resize to be a smaller hammer. Maybe. I still want him to join the crew. Actually, but then after reading the chapter and where he scales, Loki's going to be the second strongest on the crew. And we can't have that. It does not work unless Zoro's able. Zoro's calm. Like with Loki around, Zoro is chill. He's not even sweating. He just doesn't trust him. So is Loki first commander level? He could be, but then we got confirmed that Sanji and Zoro are on the same level of strength, let's say, which is what Oda had written. So I'm waiting for Sanji to get Conqueror's Haki. That's kind of a given. Gabon has it. Sanji's gonna get Conqueror's Haki. He's got to. Anyway, that's not the topic I'm trying to talk about here. But where does that put Loki? Loki would be on the top four. The duo. He's basically gotta be Zoro level. So they nerf him down to be first commander level. So they're on Zoro Sanji level. or he's basically stronger than Zoro in between Luffy and and Zoro. But like he's in my opinion way too strong to join the crew. But he needs to do what Harold didn't. He needs to do the opposite of Harold and actually join Luffy against the world power, the world government, because he sees that Luffy can be that person like Zebek. Maybe. We'll see. That's up in the air. The hammer. I did mention that you can get Chopper to talk to the squirrel. And we're going to get some stuff. It might be very simplistic, but we could get some info on where the squirrel came from, memories about how old they are. It could be a void century squirrel, basically, just protecting the hammer for centuries, because they're hundreds years old for the how long it's been guarding the hammer. Yeah, I forgot to mention the hammer. I said it in a previous review. The hammer is most likely, I feel, a poneglyph. I don't know if it's going to be the last road poneglyph they need, but I feel it's one of the hardest materials in the One Piece world. So it's probably a block of poneglyph. It's a poneglyph that just very few things can damage a poneglyph except another poneglyph or another item that is made out of poneglyph materials. What else? What else? What else here? Breaking hold. Breaking hold. Why did I write that? Huh. Breaking hold. I don't know why I wrote that. It's Zebek didn't get to break the. Oh, because they're able to hit them enough that they break hold of the control. So maybe they're able to do that to Gunko in when we get back to Elbaf with Luffy. And that brings me back to what's going to happen to Gunko. It feels too easy if they get the power spike and Luffy breaks control of Emu, but they still have the contract. So it's a permanent thing. They can't break hold of the contract, but Gunko can be damaged enough that they get a sense of clarity and tells them something before Emu takes control again. Maybe they're able to send Emu out of being in control of Gunko's body, but Gunko herself is still under the contract and will eventually, when it heals, be under the influence of the deep sea contract again. And we did see Harold have a damage over the sign, which is not an indicator that they're not under the influence and control at the moment, but it was a nice touch. So we're definitely going to get the power spike that Luffy is going to break them out of control of Emu. So we might get he's probably going to break the control of Emu on Dory and Brogy and all the giants of Elbaf. But he's going to damage Gunko enough to get Emu off being in control, but they're still going to be under the influence after a certain amount of time. And it'll be way too easy if they get to save Gunko. And with all the information that Gunko has from Emu, being in direct contact to Emu, being in direct talks to all the Holy Knights, being in the Merijois, there's just so much info that she would lore dump on us that it's too easy to get her to be free, out of control and like saving her. We're gonna have to end up having to save her at the end of the story. Basically, I feel like you need to defeat Emu themselves to actually break the contract, unless we find out a different way to break the contract from somebody, or Gunko knows, in that sense of clarity. I just feel like you need to defeat Emu themselves. And this is going to be a great motivator for Brook, because now he has a goal instead of just being the plain old magician on the crew and just joining for fun and all that. He's going to have a goal to set out to save Gunko as well from being under the control of Emu and the Holy Knights. So that's going to be nice. I hope he gets a motivational spike from that. But other than that, man, I think that's it for me. Guys, if you need me to go over something, talk about something else, let me know. And as always, give me a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.